I'm not that surprised, but I guess there's many things to be concerned about on a social level, as it always is when you talk about the Republican Party, when you talk about social programs. Um, Everything from defunding certain educational initiatives, everything from you can almost kind of guess it. Any type of social program then becomes in jeopardy. But I'm not that I'm not fearful. To some degree, I think the scales will balance themselves out, and the scales. This is a part of the process of this balancing of the scales. Um, yeah, I mean, to me, just to be honest, I see the Democratic Party as the white matriarchy, and I see the Republican Party as the white patriarchy. So I'm not surprised.
So I went over the plan a little bit. I wanted to just talk about some things that stood out to me that was concerning, maybe a little concerning, and I wanted you guys' feedback on that. Now, in the plan, it says they want to remove critical race theory from public schools and in the workplace. Correct me if I'm wrong on anything. Um, they want to return education control to the state and local governments. That could be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing. They want to shift some functions of the Department of Education to the other departments, including labor, justice, and commerce. Now, they also saying that they didn't say anything about ending civil rights. This was something that stood out to me. They want to end DEI, and DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion protections in the government. So that could affect us all in the workplace. And let me see what else I got in here. And it does say that they're trying to shut down the Department of Education, and the main thing is they want to take reins from the government, focus on the defense, and then the third part, what I was talking about earlier, is the general welfare. And what that was a lot of situations where, like you talking about food stamps, they want to change the policy for that. I think they want to make sure you need a job, if I'm not mistaken, or work a certain amount or make a certain amount, certain qualifications they want to stricken or make more strict, should I say. One thing I did like is that and they didn't phrase it that way, but we call it No Child Left Behind. I don't like that personally. I think there's a way you can move if you don't want to get left behind. But I also feel for us as a community, we need to be really stressing education and academics. We need to put that in the forefront of everything we do. And I don't think we should just say, okay, go ahead and pass by without giving the child another resource, trade school, what have you, if he's not an academic scholar. I don't want none of our kids to fail, but I want to make sure that they get the proper resources to get the proper education that they need. I don't want to have somebody that's a senior graduate and they can't read or write, and he's just been passed by thinking it's okay. And that's going to affect them as a person. That's going to affect them in life. That's going to affect his work habits and things of that nature. So that was something that really stood by and that affected me. Anybody got any comments on that? Anybody in the Zoom? So I think Brother Tony, when he thought about the Project 2025, is people were kind of frustrated with the situation and they were a little worried. But as I did read the plan, I don't think all policies affect us. Biden policies affect us. Kamala Harris policies would affect us. Trump's policies will affect us. And this plan would affect us. But I don't think it's do or die that we're going to be traumatized by it. I think the main goal that we always want to teach in the UNIA is if we come together and get our agenda together and we fight for our agenda, then we can move as a powerful people and get policies in place for us. And I think that should be our main focus, and not focusing too much as a community on this policy bringing us down. That makes sense to y'all? All right. Yeah, sure, Brother Frank.
And I wanted to share something, and y'all come up to the front, but I didn't want it. I don't think it should be like this type of discussion. We got a few people in the room, in the building, and then we have people on Zoom as well. So, and we also want to hopefully more people come in here tonight to share with us and what they think. So it's an open discussion about multiple topics, but like that No Child Left Behind thing, I looked at my son the other day and I had to tell him, I said, you behind, buddy. You're 10 years old, but your reading level is on an 8. Your writing level, you look like you got chicken scratch on the paper. Like, oh, but I'm better than my classmates. I said, Lord have mercy. You doing better than others in this how you write? Y'all in 5th grade? Come on now. I said, so now I got to work with you, show you how to hold your pencil, how to write your letters, So when I think of like the policies and things like that, I'm thinking about what you're going to do in your house, and that's the thing about building. You can come on in, restaurant in the back. You can walk this way, that way, any way you want. We're just having a little discussion. It's all good. Welcome to Diaspora and Soul. The food is great and the company is lovely. Start on that, but I mean, back to the No Child Left Behind thing. I think that my feelings is we are left behind, way behind, and it puts everybody on a level playing field, but that, the schools are way behind. So talk about Trump all you want. What you gonna do? What are we gonna do with our families to say, all right, do this now. Let's put some education, cultural education for ourselves and what is important to us in place. Who cares of what the president is doing? I ain't never seen him. He all the way out there. I ain't never seen this man. We're gonna let him talk about 2025. What we gonna do 2025? They plan to 2050. They already in 2075. Urban like building is planned way out. They know what's going to happen on Hartford Road. They know what's going to happen on Bel Air Road. What they trying to do and the agendas they trying to push, that's the thing about an agenda. What's our agenda? And that's the thing where Tony called me. He's like, man, we got to talk about solutions, bro. Like all this talking about problems, just getting on my nerves. I'm like, me too. I've been there for 20 years. I've been tired of hearing everybody talk about problems. We're going to be solutionary today, talk about some things that we could do within our households, within our communities to build up and make things different and make a change. You know what I'm saying? So anybody else?
Hello. I'm Janaki. And just as far as solutions, I wanted to come up here and I had a thought the other day. I was thinking, we're going into this different phase of life and I want to be a revolutionary, you know what I'm saying? And in my head, I had that as like, I'm going to have to put on some boots and strap up and fight. But when you start talking about educating and teaching and all these other aspects of what's going on, some of the revolutionaries are raising up the young men to be the warriors and kings that they need to be. So I think some of the solutions to what we are going to need is us being revolutionary, thinking outside the box. Sometimes a revolutionary is educating people or teaching people or, just doing different things other than fighting. Because here you always think, for me, I was like, I got to fight. So I just want to bring that up that, we all need to step into our revolutionary roles and just say, this is what we have to do something different than what we're taught. And like for me, being different is homeschooling my kids, you know what I'm saying? Teaching them out the box, teaching them about Mansa Musa, teaching them about the Queen of Zinga. And so just keep in mind that we have to, if you're ready, or if your mind is ready, you have to come outside the box that you're in to really be revolutionary and fight the system that we're in. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think that's very important. And it all starts with home. Marcus Garvey always talks about reading. One of the first lessons in the UNIA is education. How to obtain education, how to learn. And what's really important, he talks about reading. Try to read a book. Try to read every night. He talks about the midnight burning oil. Back in the day, you didn't have electricity. They used to have the oil in the lamp. And it's very important for us to do those type of things. I remember when I was young, my mother used to make me read the Bible. I was like, oh, my God. Because my father was Muslim, so he'd be tripping. Like, man, you got to learn about that white Jesus. He'd be laughing in the other room. But that was her structure to at least make sure I read every day. And I think from dealing with my wife and my daughter who are teachers or in a school system, my daughter's a teacher, she's saying that she's saying that has faded away. It could be that somewhere down the line, our parents are in our community didn't learn how to read or they don't feel comfortable teaching at home. I'm not sure, but there are steps that I believe we need to take to make sure that our kids are being educated, not just in school, but at home. So that was a phenomenal point you made. As well as the youth. Getting the youth, that's something that we're trying to push. But I think we need to get young people to help us recruit because there's an identity factor as far as relating. I coach sports. I coach football and basketball. And I'm a college recruiter. I help kids get in school. And one of the things I notice is each year is something new. It's a new term. It's a new way that they dress. It's a new way that they go about things. So when I'm in the gym, I got to watch how they move so I can relate to them. I don't sell myself out to say the terms that they use because I don't want to be that guy that's old but trying to relate. But I want to be able to understand them so I could use my saying and break it down so they can understand. And so I think it's very important that we relate to the youth and try to bring them involved as well, because this is very important. We should have a lot of our youth here, kids here, so we can educate them on the government and things of that nature. When I was in elementary school, we had like a fake election. This is back in the day. I'm going to probably tell my age now. Jimmy Carter was going against Ronald Reagan. So this was back in the 70s. I was in elementary school. And what they did was they had a student as Jimmy Carter and another student as Ronald Reagan. And both of them had to appeal to the audience, which was the kids in the school. So they got all the kids, brought them to the auditorium. And these two kids were probably like sixth graders at the time, would give their speech. Of course, they wasn't talking about the politics as far as things that elementary kids wouldn't know, but they talked about things that we would understand. I'm going to do this for the school. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. And it became a big thing. So no matter what we do as far as politics and things of that nature, we got to figure out how we can educate our kids earlier so they can not only learn about politics, but not focus on the propaganda. Because that's one thing, that's something I also wanted to talk about Project 2025. There's a lot of misinformation out there as well. I went into and I was like, man, somebody was telling me something about they want to bring back slavery. I'm like, man, they didn't say that. So we always say, source up or shut up. So I told the brother, yo, you got to show me where that's at in the plan. Source up. I got the plan right in front of me. I'm looking. I see some things that concern me, but bringing back slavery, come on. So those are some things that's probably hurting or has our community paranoid, because we're listening to a lot of YouTube, a lot of people that speak on television, and then they go to YouTube and speak, and they're not actually factual. They're just giving their opinion of the plan, but they're not really giving facts. And that's something we have to do as well, start pushing our own propaganda and getting our truth out there. And we have to start learning and researching. Everything is not on Google where you can just click it and use it as clickbait because you might get the wrong information. We actually have to go to the source. So if we leave the day with anything, just remember, source up and shut up. Let's start looking for the information before we feed into it. Anybody got anything to say on Project 2025?
No, I just really wanted to say that I think as far as us teaching our children, we should have always been teaching our children. You know, we did it back in the 60s and stuff, you know, on Saturdays and stuff like that. We had the African free schools and the informations, you know, to pass down from families to families. We gathered together in, you know, in little village centers or whatever. And I think we should have, you know, I know some people never stopped it, but we need to really revive that and make sure. And you know, because I still think our children need to go to school, but we can't relay, you know, we can't depend upon what they're going to learn at school. We just have to do it for ourselves. And not only, you know, back then we put our main focus on history and drum and dance and things like that, you know, but we need to also these days be worried about making sure they're learning some viable skills that they can make a living off of, because so many of the children have lost interest in going to college and in just sitting down doing some of the things that have worked in the past, but they want to make quick money. And we just need to have a way to teach our children the things that we need to be knowing how to do, because I don't know, with AI and all that coming into play, how much longer we're going to have a lot of jobs available or whatever, you know. So I think we have to be ready. We need to be prepared, and we need to be ready for whatever might jump off, because I don't trust trying to put Trump in any kind of box. He going to try to come out of it some way or, you know, somewhere or the other. So I think we just need to be prepared in many directions, on many levels.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, that's very important as well. What I realized growing up, I wasn't the most academic person. I'm not even going to lie to you. I got in trouble, got put out a few times, had to live with my father, my grandparents, and things of that nature. So I was kind of the problem child. But I had a foundation from my parents. And so I agree with you, because what happened with me was my mother gave me an ultimatum. I was about to graduate. She was like, look, you can't do what you're doing. You're either going to the military or you're going to college or you up out of here. So I was talking to my homeboys. I'm like, I ain't going to the service. Y'all wilding out. I'm going to try this college thing. So I went to UMES, and I went down. I probably wasn't ready to go because I really didn't want to go to educate myself. I wanted to go to party. So I spent like 5 years down there partying. But what I did have was the foundation. And when it comes back to it, like you said, trade schooling, things of that nature, my cousins and people like that were getting into, and they were able to survive. And I just think that she probably could have relayed some things to me a little different, like, you know, try this out, try that out. But as parents, you know, it's hit or miss. You're just only trying to do your best to save your kids. And so I really appreciate it from that, because when I was down at school, as I started hanging out, you can't party forever. I started taking all my business classes, started taking sociology and psychology and things of that nature, religious classes, things that I just wanted to learn and figure out. And then I figured out I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I just went on my way with that. But the important thing, I think, is a foundation that we have to build in a home, so we can, and not even in a home, in a community. You know, so it was different. Like back in the day, we had a teacher named Miss Tarvis. She used to pop you with the ruler on your knuckles. It was a little different than you knew how to act. And if your mom found out, my mother found out, then I was getting popped again because I got on Miss Tarvis' nerves. So we're not in that situation anymore where teachers can do those type of things and make sure we're disciplined. Back in the day, if I was acting up, I was like, dang. I knew by the time my mother got home, the whole block was going to tell my mom what I did. So it's a little different now. You know, we mind our own business. The snitching thing has gotten a little difficult to deal with, where we don't even police ourselves in our community the right way. So I think it's a lot that we need to discuss. But going back into the 2025 and Trump, I agree with you. Trump is about himself. I think the main reason he was running is just to to pardon himself. You know, the brother was found guilty, or was about to be found guilty of a lot of things. So I think that was the main reason he ran. But we just really got to be on point with how we move as a community. Anybody else? Yeah, Brother Tim.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. He didn't even introduce himself. I'm going to officially introduce him. His name is Everett Winchester. He's the president of the UNIA Division, Barca-Clarke 106, Baltimore. This is Frank. I'm Anthony, or Tony Culture, as they call me. You know, I'm the sergeant at arms in the UNIA. On the 2025 project thing, I feel like this is my outlook. I think we already have the tools to fend it off. I mean, we've been given the tools over the years. People like Martin Luther King gave us the tools. Malcolm X gave us the tools. John Henry Clark gave us the tools. You understand? Marcus Garvey gave us the tools. And I feel like if we really just get real serious, unite, and start implementing the things we have learned over the years, we are more than equipped to fend off whatever is to come. Because remember, you know, we are Black Africans, you know, and we already survived the most horrific atrocity that has ever been put on a race, and that's slavery. So what I'm saying to each African person, Black person, is that if our ancestors who had a lot less than us could survive slavery, we can survive Trump and more. I'm concerned, but I'm not buying into the hysteria. I ain't packing up and moving nowhere and none of that kind of stuff, because at a point, you got to understand how long you're going to run. You know what I mean? There's at a point where you have to draw the line in the sand and say, okay, this is where I'm going to fight. You know what I'm saying? This is where I'm going to fight. And like the sister said about being a revolutionary, even when I was young, I thought the same thing. I was looking at Che Guevara, people like those were that's what I was thinking about. You know what I mean? Fidel Castro in the woods with machine guns and stuff like that. But a revolutionary act is not specifically or necessarily an act of violence. Okay? It is like the sister said, doing things outside of the box, doing things a little bit different. And sometimes what happens doing things a little bit different, we have to come out of our comfort zone. And that there's the problem. We don't want to come out of our comfort zone. We want to stay in our comfort zone. You know, the society, the society which we live in, it gives us this pleasure principle society. You want it and you want it yesterday. You understand me? And that's not reality. That's not reality. You know, like I said to, you know, we in the UNIA, we have conversations all the time. I said it to Frank, I said it to Everett. Chances are, and this is not anything, I'm an optimistic person. And what I see us doing right now, especially us of a certain age group, we are laying something, like something was laid for us. Like Everett was talking about the foundation. A foundation was laid for him, and a foundation was laid for a lot of us to come and follow. You understand what I'm saying? So what a lot of us are doing right now, we are laying a foundation for the young people to follow. You understand me? You know, some of us might not even be here to see the fruits of our labor, and that's reality. You know, I'm not trying to be a downer or anything like that. But, you know what I mean, somebody got to put the work in. You know what I mean? If not me, who? If not you, who? Somebody got to put the work in. So as far as the Project 2025 is concerned, that's the way I look at it. I feel like it's all right to be concerned, which I think if you are not concerned, I think you're a little foolhardy. But the hysteria section of it, I'm not buying into this. Trump is not God. The Republicans are not God. They don't have superpowers. They're just organized, and quoting the sister, Dr. K from the Dr. K show on WEAA, she said that while others were playing checkers, the Republicans were playing chess. And if you know anything about chess is the long game. So we have to get into that mindset. We got to play the long game. We got to set things up way ahead. Just like Frank came out here and said, they already know what they're going to do with years from now, what they're going to do with Harford Road, what they're going to do with Bel-Air Road. You know what I mean? We are behind. That's the problem. You know, like Marcus Garvey said this, and unfortunately, it's still true. We say, a people without power and authority are people without respect. That's where we at. Let that soak in. A people without power and authority are a people without respect. So when others come at us a certain type of way, we only have ourselves to blame. Stop pointing the fingers and looking over there and looking over there and looking all over the place. Look in the mirror, like Michael Jackson said. It starts with the man in the mirror. Look in the mirror. The sister in the mirror. That's where it starts at. It don't start me pointing at you or Everett or Dr. Winkler. Nah, It start with you. That's where it has to start. You know what I'm saying? So I said my part. I'm not much of a talker, but, you know, present it back to President Winchester.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms. Before I get off the mic, I had to ask you guys a couple of questions. How many people in here voted? Okay. Let me see how I can phrase this. How many people voted for the government that's supposed to be for black people? All right, I'm gonna go a little in detail. How many people have heard of Marcus Garvey? How many people have heard of the flag, the red, black, and green? Okay, so on August 13th, 1920, we created the flag. That's from our organization. Okay, and we created a government to that flag. It's not just a flag, it's a government. Did y'all know that? Very good. So we're going here to learn before we get out of here. So there's a military to that government. The UN actually acknowledged Marcus Garvey and the UNI as a government. In fact, in the 1920s, if you were black and you needed a passport, you could use a UNI passport. So in 1920, in the month of August, which is the real reason we call August Black August, there was a month-long convention. Now we have it for a week, but there was a month-long convention. So I want you to just think of Marcus Garvey. I want you to think of over 30,000 black people all over the world came to New York and said, hey, these are going to be our colors, the red, black, and green, and this is going to be our flag. So now we have to start asking ourselves, why don't they teach Marcus Garvey in schools like they teach Frederick Douglass, like they teach Malcolm X? I think they do teach Malcolm X in Black History Month. There's a reason, because not only was Marcus Garvey saying we need to have our own, he was saying we need to create businesses. He was saying race first, man. I'm going to hire my own people. You know, he was saying those type of things. So in order for us to keep moving as a people, just learn about us. You're already a member of the UNIA. If you're of African descent, if you had that black melanin in you, the way Marcus Garvey set it up, you're already a member. I just ask that for my grandparents who were UNIA members, for Elijah Muhammad, if you're Muslim, his real name was Elijah Poole. He studied and he was a member of our Detroit division of the African Legion. That's why when you see all the Muslim sisters wearing white, they got that from the Black Cross nurses. That's how you see the brothers standing up in security. He got that from the African Legion, our military, which Elijah Poole, Elijah Muhammad was a part of. So we got to keep Elijah there. Malcolm X, mother and father. Malcolm X's father was a president, like I am, of a local division in Detroit. His mother wrote for a magazine, The Negro World. She was one of the first female writers of The Negro World. And it's crazy how they came together and how they fought. And they both from Detroit and have history with the UNIA. In the UNIA, Marcus Garvey, if you heard how they infiltrated the Black Panthers and how they infiltrated, why am I going blank? Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, FOI, Followers of Islam. J. Edgar Hoover's first case was Marcus Garvey's. I believe it was his first case. And Marcus Garvey was in court. Our President General always talks about this. And he says Marcus Garvey had beat the case. They were about to let him go. So in front of everybody, J. Edgar Hoover walked up in front of everybody and the judge and said, so you're going to let the tiger go? He called him the Black Moses, the Black Messiah. He said, out of anybody, you cannot let this man go. If you let him go, then it's going to be crazy. And if we kill him, black people are going to erupt. We got to demean him. We got to get him out of here. We got to deport him. We got to do whatever we got to do to get him out of here. He's starting businesses. He has restaurants all up in New York and in Baltimore City and grocery stores. This guy, he started a black doll company. When I was little, there weren't black doll babies that I can remember. There wasn't a black Barbie doll. It was just white doll baby dolls. So we've evolved as a community, but Marcus Garvey was on everything first. So they incarcerated him. And so they were talking about pardoning Marcus Garvey, but what happens if they pardon Marcus Garvey? They got to give all of those businesses and buildings back to the UNIA, so I doubt that ever happened. But I just ask that y'all learn, keep his history alive, keep the UNIA alive, and most importantly, keep our black people on your hearts and on your minds, and make sure that we put each other first, okay? Brother Tony, brother.
Hello, hello. Hi, I'm Janaki Richardson. I am the Pink Poet. I will be doing a little poetry for you today. So this poem I wrote because I was in a transition phase. And during transition phases, typically we have to step into the new. And I was trying to keep some of the old, but step into the new. And, you know, it just talks about that struggle, about transitioning into your new person, your new self, the higher self. Okay? So this is called My Soul's Delight. And I'm reading it, so bear with me. The goddess in me sees the God in you. I also see the Father in you. You protect and you provide. I'm looking at how you lead and you guide. Come here, look at my eyes, waving like a sea when you inside. My third eye has arrived, soul on overdrive. But you got Christian eyes. Scared of the Reiki, but you ain't scared of Janaki. You see, I can't fake it. Y'all know Jesus did Reiki. Because I'm living in a miracle adjusting to this perfect spherical. With height, depth, it's three-dimensional. But I'm done cycling through. Conscious minds, I want you. I crave you. You set my soul on fire, and I ain't got no burns. But my soul does yearn. Not for the sex, not for the dinner dates, not for the fancy clothes. What I'm yearning for is prophetic words and psychodynamic interactions lit by a flood of sacred soul interaction. Young people build on my words and give them some traction. I'm creating a combined attraction. I'm creating a universal love reaction. The devil can't distract us. Chilling on the green pants, just relaxing. Kicked out the house, now I'm expanding. Hey, if I ever hurt you, I got compassion. The platform I'm building, we all get mansions. The brain cells just keep pivoting. This is expansion. See, baby, you think I'm superficial? Well, maybe just a little, but this heart is official. My soul really did miss you. I want to do something deeper than kiss you. Let's cove away in the abyss. In the dark, like an eclipse. Why y'all scared of the dark? That's the beast I want to mark. However, Isaiah prophesied that the people who walked in the dark would see the great light. Get your mind out the twilight, because without the midnight, we would never see the star bright. Ancestors said, baby, you're doing it right. Generations is strong. Your soul had a navigation system that never went wrong. This is not just a love song, it's a love letter to all my unseen fans. When I extended my hands, the ancestors whispered, this is my plan. We defeated the man. Walked into heaven on earth, it's a grand slam. I ain't even done yet, I'm just warming up. All y'all need to take a stand, creating your own brands, living off what you build with your own hands. And Vogue said, don't let go. I got that. They got that. Love making, heartbreaking, soul shaking. I got that love transformation, heart mending, never bending. Soul creating a new mode, shaking this earth systems. But I'm thinking about a man. If I let him inside of my dim light, but I gotta shine, I gotta shine. I heal in my mind, mistakes and rewind. The little birdie that chimes, she brightens my mind. Cause I gotta shine, yeah, I'm gonna shine. Pink poet alive, give her a light. So I'm gonna shine, I'm gonna shine. Look to the right, your soul, look to the right, your soul getting so bright. My ancestors said you're finally doing it right. You stand in your fight. Your heart and your soul is full of a spark of empirical light. Yo, I'm gonna shine, yeah, I'm gonna shine, I gotta shine. Here comes my eternal light, shining so bright. Are y'all catching the message that I give, coming from deep within my ribs? I'm using my spiritual gifts. But me and you got this love tryst. Christian or spiritual, we still working within God's miracles. This is my soul's delight. Ashe.
Shower remix, I know. Oh, you go continue. Oh, please, the one in all the. Yeah, give it to them. Hey, I go. If a bala go. Umwanya na miali. Eburubago. Baby, fire they go. All the boys sit down colo, and they want some tom. She con the pium. Waka waka baby, ooh, baby, corner, baby. And I go tell my mama, and I go tell my papa, and I go tell am say, you be waka waka, baby. You be chuku chuku, baby. Baby sawale, sawa sawa sawale, sawa sawa sawale. Pom pom, iporokotom, ipom pom, iporokotom, ipom pom, iporokotom, ipom pom, iporokotom. Akolopa, 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 ipom pom. Ajari papa, ukuma baby, achukurege, ipom pom. Ashawo, awusha, awusha, ashawo, ashawo, awusha, ipom pom.